when we started grafting, you were 17 and I was 18.
Yeah.
I remember at the time you couldn't even be on the paperwork.
No.
And even when we registered, it was my mother that we actually used as a secretary or something like that. I met a billionaire this week. I've asked him just to give extreme raw feedback on my business. I told him everything, exactly how it was, what I'm doing, and he goes, "You are reverse engineering a dinosaur." And I fucking love that. He's like, most young guys will never get into the business you're getting into, and you guys got into back in the day of actually building out, a team and offering an office, actually going, servicing customers, trading with enterprise clients who can be and who will be successful. And the can be part is like, you've reached that far. Trust me, I think you can reach further. Hey everybody, welcome back to a new episode of Built From Scratch podcast with Dara and Erik. This is episode 23. It is episode 23. It's we're back in the studio now, and we always start off by little introductions. So I might start today. So obviously my name is Erik. I'm 24 years old. I run a company called Grafton Digital. We do digital transformations for enterprise companies. And I also run a company called Olive for Education, where we're on a mission to put a device in every kid's hand in Ireland in order to enable education and make it more accessible for everybody.
My name is Dara. I'm 23 years old. I co-founded Grafton Digital with Erik. I now have a company called Magnate, which will be launched next month. Is the fastest and smartest messaging platform. It currently connects into your existing platforms and allows you to control your messaging and it not to control you. Erik and I are also co-owners in a car park based in Galway City called Sky Park, which you can book online.
And it's the best Sky Park. It's the best car park in Galway City.
And we have the podcast together as well. So we've been in business about 7 years now.
7 years, yeah. And I was going to say, from like next month onwards, you can't be saying you're 23.
No, I'm 24.
Your time is coming, brother.
Going from early 20s to mid-20s. Scary times.
I think it's over.
Yeah.
I think the game is going to be over very soon for you.
Erik, do you remember transitioning from teenage entrepreneurs to in your 20s entrepreneurs?
No.
I do. Because I'd be like a teenage entrepreneur, you're like, oh.
Because we started this when we started Grafton. You were 17 and I was 18.
Yeah.
So I remember at the time you couldn't even be on the paperwork.
No.
And even when we registered, it was my mother that we actually used as a secretary or something like that to sign.
Yeah, because in Ireland to be 18 years
18
old.
to own a company legally, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's funny.
We've come a long way.
Yeah.
Come a long way.
Fun journey. But I suppose, how has your week been?
My week was very interesting. This week just was a surprise amount of events happening in a lot of the finance side of my personal my personal limited company, I suppose, myself, with just a load of things happening around that, and I've learned so much over the last few days, weeks, because I had to figure some things out and I had to take some actions really fast, but it was ultimately a really good learning.
Yeah. And for context, guys, Erik can't talk about it, but he had to have a very steep learning curve over the last week. So again, I say that because it's the thing that engulfed his entire week. But
it has, yeah. So I was in Dublin for the last few days, but I had some interesting conversations as well around some of the companies I'm involved in. We're doing really great things, and it's great to see good progress across them. And also I've met a really cool entrepreneur, James Galligan, there yesterday with his partner as well, Jake, and they built a social circle called the A Players Club. Two guys are in their James is 21 or 20s or very early 20s, and then Jake is the same. And the guys have built a networking community for young guys, I suppose, that can join. When I say young, it's from the age of 18 all the way to 35 is kind of their age demo. But the guys have done an amazing job in building a community and doing events, high rocks events, all about fitness, health, and then also upskilling on, founders sharing their journeys and everything like that. So it was really insightful to sit down with him as well and just hear what. It's so funny because we're young and they're young but the new young entrepreneur has such a different perspective, and they're growing up in a such different landscape that we grew up in. Like, we had a discussion with James, and most people don't even want to get onto LinkedIn, who are young founders, because it's too corporate for them, and it's not something they can really relate to, or it's not, it doesn't check the culture, doesn't check the vibe, right? So it's just so weird, because it's like, I'm not old in any sense, but also it makes you think like that couple of years in difference of growing up and being exposed to different platforms or different, landscapes when you're starting a business. I suppose from a social aspect on it, how different it actually lands, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, do you keep up with a lot of the social trends, right?
Yeah, like I suppose I think both of us usually like spend a lot more time hanging around people much older than us. Like I suppose it's only now that I'm now in kind of the more tech sphere, tech product sphere, that I'm hanging out with guys in their early to mid 20s, a little bit more now, but like for years, like how long did we go when we didn't speak to anyone near or
Years.
within 20 years or 15 years of our age?
Yeah.
Like now I'm slowly getting more that direction a bit, because people are building in my sphere around my age, but for years, like we were kind of building a bit of a, bricks and mortar business, and
Oh yeah.
and the clientele we were looking for, the people that had the budget and the desire for the pain point of what we're trying to solve, with people much older than us.
Absolutely, and you'll actually find this interesting. I met a billionaire this week who I've asked to give extreme raw feedback on my business, and I've told him everything, exactly how it was, what I'm doing, and he goes, "You are reverse engineering a dinosaur," and I fucking love that. He's like, most young guys will never get into the business you're getting into, and you guys got into back in the day of actually building out, a team, an offering, an office, actually going, servicing customers, trading with enterprise clients. It's no longer cool.
Yeah.
He sees exactly the same trend. He's like, it's no longer cool. Like, people can now go and leverage technology more and build like email automation funnels and do like rev share deals, and some people can make quite a lot of money using that. Now that's like black magic for me, because I so don't understand that landscape. But he's like, because you guys gone and actually built a brand, built a team, built an offering, and now you're tackling industries that are quite like the average industry leader is over the age of 60.
Yeah.
He's like, you are at such advantage.
Yeah.
Just by pure time basis and presence, you have all the right recipe now for success to acquire more of the market. So he's like, all you need to do is stay patient and don't change trajectory. Because the market you're in has been around for 100 years, it's going to continue to be around for another 100 years, but it's just, you have to adapt to the change.
Yeah.
And you have to bring the change, such as, how do companies use AI? What is AI? How can they do things faster, better? What are the existing types of AI, right? Like, that point alone is like something that a lot of the bigger companies, unfortunately, won't be able to provide to the middle, the medium-sized enterprises of the market, because it's a very expensive thing for them to do.
Yeah.
And what happens is the natural evolution is the middle company becomes a big company, and the big company then either, dilutes into 10 medium companies. There's just many different possible outcomes that can happen there. But I found it very interesting when he goes, "You are reverse engineering a dinosaur."
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of cool.
Tom with Olive or GD?
GD.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's because like we're literally working with our ICP, like usually has 3 or 4 businesses, and they've been around the block for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And we're doing software, hardware for them across, all the segments. And, we're literally like taking on some of the biggest service contracts in Ireland to look after other people's, products, operations. And that's the business that a lot of people wouldn't find sexy and executable. So he's like, that is absolutely, like, he thinks Grafton Digital is like going to be like a multi-$100 million dollar brand over the course of the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Just by pure the momentum and just how the market's trending. So that was good feedback for me. That's always nice to hear of somebody giving you, like, he has no reason to try and big me up or anything. So I was like, okay, that's why I had like an entrepreneur's high all week, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going another 10 years.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep it locked in. You know, we'll keep going.
And again, it's funny the small things that just kind of keep you on track and can keep you peppy. You know.
Yeah, you need those things. And I like whenever I get a chance to speak with any like person like that, I'm like, I need you to tell me a little bit around like I need you to be honest, and I need you to tell me like, am I playing the field correctly? Do I have everything I need? Am I thinking the right direction? What are my blind spots that I'm not seeing? I think that's the type of information you need to, get from like a person that's so far ahead, and is like literally like a black belt in business.
One of the things that shocks me with those guys is they only need particular information. There's a certain point where you just see they just get it, and it doesn't usually take a tremendous amount. I'd say it was like 3 to 5 minutes of you explaining where you go, I understand the complete landscape.
Oh yeah, like I literally like a minute and a half to 2 minutes of a conversation. You could just tell he was like,
got it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, which is so impressive. And again, like I understand that we do a little bit of that where we talk to people about their business and whatever. And via the nature of Grafton and the business that it has been is that we were problem-solving companies, but someone that's seen decades, you
literally seeing the market in its ups and downs many times in different shapes and shades. One of the things I think is so important if you ever have the chance on talking to any founder that's way further in the journey than you, is for you to be able to pitch what you do, how you do it, who you are, what you're doing, everything around that really effectively, and understand that like time and attention span and everything else that's going on their head is what like is taken. So you have to be able to say your pitch really, really quickly and clearly.
Yeah, agreed. Because it is the thing that'll someone's lights will just turn off and they'll go, they'll just disengage.
Yeah, it's like when I have someone. Do you remember we've had? I think it was like Dublin Tech Summit like 3 years ago, and two founders came to pitch some sort of a concept of I can't even describe it to you, but something, and he blabbed onto us for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And we were just like, do you know what he's talking about? No. I just got a bit of, he's doing technology and AI or this and that. It's like, what do you do? What is your business?
Yeah, and how are you helping?
Data. It's like, don't be bamboozling me with words and everything. Say to me what your business is called. Tell me what problem you're solving and tell me how you're solving that problem.
And who you're doing it for.
Exactly.
Because like and it's a big thing with like Magna. It's like, okay, most knowledge workers globally use email and messaging. Okay, but who are we starting with? Because again, if it's not hair on fire, it's you're just going to
and why are you starting with that person and doing all that? You have to be able to do that when you're starting a business.
It was actually interesting. I was talking to a guy this morning, and he's been around the block for a very long time, involved with the European Innovation Council and a lot of the state bodies here and globally. And he was saying that he was like, Magna would be really interesting for financial services. And it's actually the second time this week someone said it to me. They go, because financial services have so much auditory and regulation around it, they were like the traceability of all messaging. Like how many times do banks get audited head to toe, and if their messaging is fragmented, it actually just causes huge headaches internally. He was like, you should definitely, and it's two people, Monday and today, people said to me, and I had never heard of it until today, and I'm like, okay, well maybe there's even more hair on fire there. Where I was on a call with a recruitment company today, and they were like, they're expanding into the Middle East. And their huge pain point is just comms from people applying for jobs, customers, and then because they're dealing in the Middle East, it's Telegram and
the
WhatsApp.
amount of CVs and
crazy.
Everything, yeah.
And even talking to some of the VCs as well, venture capitalists and investors. So we're currently doing out, so I'm going to be raising in the next couple of months. I'm doing out like an interactive demo, and I'm doing it in the version of an investor. And like even yesterday I was mapping this out of like, okay, what does a day-to-day of investor look like? I was talking to a couple of investors around this and getting some context. And then what does that look like in an inbox, and how does it add value? And going through that whole experience, that's been really interesting because they get so much communications. Like talking to any of them, they go, like, I'm just getting sent stuff on every platform. Someone can find my number, my WhatsApp, my LinkedIn, my email, my private email. Like people will scour me and just try and ping things. And that's all from general partner all the way down to like investments associates or whatever. So it's actually one of the really big things that I think will actually help me out is when we build a really great product here that I can send to the VCs and be like, hey, go use
Go
it.
use it, yeah.
Which it was actually really interesting. I was talking to the guy, same guy this morning from State Body, and he was saying that, he said, Stripe and Intercom really early days, they got really great traction because all the venture capitalist firms kept hearing, oh, they're talking to startups and they go, how are you processing money? Stripe. How are you processing money? Stripe. This is really early days. And they go, and then when Stripe came in to pitch, they went,
Everybody is doing this.
and then Intercom was the same. Everyone's using this. Who the hell is this company?
Yes.
You know, and I actually think with Magnate we could end up in this. I like the idea of being in the sphere because so many, one group of our user base is superhuman users, which I think we can actually just land grab because we'll have some similar functionality, but across a whole like all messaging. And I actually like that idea is actually going to the hubs. I've actually had really good uptake from startup and scale up founders being like, we need this for our communications, but is that actually having a knock-on effect that investors then hear about it through their own investments and potential investments, so.
They're using it and it's like, oh, you're pitching me and I'm actually using your product. Or I've heard like 10 other founders use the product in the startup phase. It's like, it's the best marketing you can get.
Like, actually, you can't pay for that. Like it was just something I heard this morning. I went, that's a really interesting thing that I should probably focus harder on. I had the individual pieces, but I hadn't put them all together of how that actually looks and plays out. So, anyways, that's...
And you're going to find as well, like when you're building a product, is like, you're going to have so many people that are so super excited for it.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest things to do is you have to continue making it very general first and then very tailored.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Because I think if people think you have to make it very tailored first and it doesn't fit certain criteria and the market's not big enough, you could be wasting your time. So you're building like a product that can be used by anybody, and then what I love in what you said there is you're actually, like, the interactive demo is going to be tailored to the person that's going to be, doing the demo, and you want to get on board, to invest in the company. And it's like you're serving steak to a meat lover, and it's like you're like, okay, I've cooked it medium well, it's perfect, it fits right in, and that's the sort of stuff you really want. You don't want to have a look at a VC doesn't want to see a gardener situation or something else. It's unrelatable. Everyone wants to relate and feel the pain and go in through this and be like, I'm super excited. Remember when you pitched to the CCO of our company as well? He has been on about this product now for the last 3 weeks because he's like, oh my God, I have so many emails, 7 inboxes, 9 different calendars, and I have many different messages. And currently what happens is emails get printed for him at the moment, and he manually signs off on an email when he actually replied to it. So he has a manual filing system, which I've never ever witnessed before, but it's scary and but it's real. That's what the reality is of the traditional inbox.
And it's one of the things I probably don't bang on about enough, and it's only through conversations even this week that it kind of came back up, is one of the big things that I hear, and it's actually funny, both men and women both face this, but women are more likely to actually say it, is the anxiety, for people who receive a lot of messages, the anxiety of missing important stuff is a real thing, right? Hence why people anxiously just check their inbox all the time, constantly checking.
Oh, absolutely.
And like what he's trying to avoid is missing anything important, because obviously he's a CCO of a large company group. But with Magnate, because you have to deal with every message, it means nothing ever gets missed. So it's that safety net of, if I don't mark it as done or delayed or deleted, it hasn't been dealt with, it's still there in my inbox. Whereas if you get like 30 Gmails, it could go to the next page, you don't see it,
That's exactly what I have. I'd say I was driving today and all I see is like unread. I have 3 pages of like unread messages. Now bear in mind, some is spam, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's just so, the clutter is just immense. And then you have Slack, then I have Teams, I have WhatsApp, I have Telegram a little bit as well. It's just like over compounding, and now you're like, well, I'm gonna have to sit down and just look through page by page by page, because on the phone I scroll, and it
never ends,
and it just never ends, and you just never feel like accomplished with, like actually like, oh my God, I have a clear inbox. I have like 45,000 unread mails in my email inbox, which is a pretty scary number. I've tried, even whenever I try to set it in my Gmail for it to fully like be read, it actually crashes. That's the level of like clutterness I have at the moment in my box.
Yeah, like you hear some, like I obviously through this process.
It's a horror story, actually.
Yeah.
The more you deep dive into it, I'd say the more you realize actually this is like
people are really suffering.
Really
suffering.
It's not a sexy task to do. It's not a fun thing to do.
No, and like it's interesting. like I've talked to so many people that just get outrageous amounts of messages, just outrageous amount. But it's been really insightful because it's like, okay, one, it's very evident there's no tool here that's actually solving people's problem, which is great because that means there's tools that fix parts of it, but I don't think anything that's really fixated on that. And then secondly, just being able to focus on that one problem and go, if I can just build this one solution and it's world class, no matter how long it takes me, I think there's a huge business there. And again, hopefully I'm proved right on that. And again, this is all set on camera, so hopefully I'll be correct on that. But I really think there's like you talk to one person and there's a guy and he's like manages 6 inboxes and he kind of does like administrative stuff for a lot of his family businesses. Like 3, 4, 5,000 emails a week and he needs to respond to them all.
3,000-4,000
Yeah,
emails a week?
he showed me. Yeah. Crazy. And that's not including WhatsApp and anything else that comes through. Like this guy is so underwater, it's insane. Or like I was talking.
Has he just people full-time replying to emails?
No, he's the person replying. He replies on behalf of his family's businesses.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He's on a career break, but not really career break. Another person is a law director for a very large company. They spend 7 hours every Friday just moving. So solicitors, a lot of the time, what they do with their emails, this is just via speaking to lots of people, is they put all their emails into folders of their clients to make sure they don't miss anything. And this lady spends 7 hours every Friday just moving her emails and she said it literally takes her 7 to 8 hours every Friday. She's like, I don't do anything else on a Friday other than move those emails
That's
over.
a lot of billable hours, man.
Like this lady is in a very high up position in a very big company. And I'm like, your billable hours is outrageous money. Never mind your salary. I'm like, that alone, like just like messaging management, I really feel like has not been done very well. And I think there's a huge amount of potential there. But again, and like you said, like I'm starting with quite a general product. And I want to make this really great. And then whoever knocks down my door the hardest and
that's who you'll show
then it'll be like,
to.
it'll be Magnate Law, Magnate whatever. We'll have different divisions.
Product.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's where you go from a general product, and even from like a business standpoint is like, you can charge 30, 40, 50 quid per user per month as a more general, really great product. But when you get into the niche examples where it's niche integrations or custom integrations, this is where as a SaaS company and eventually an AI agentic company, because AI could probably end up killing SaaS companies, is where you can you can charge much more. Like you're seeing like OpenAI are talking about having actual agents that cost like $20,000 a month, where it's actual humans that have huge output and stuff. So, but yeah, so whichever industries bite down the hardest once we launch is going to go off and serve them, and then obviously then hopefully keep raising money, revenue, scale out teams, and have them individually deal with them and have leaders. And I could see over time even treating them as nearly individual companies, where they're actually led, because I really would want to move quite quickly on all, let's say the top 3, 4, and have like people from industry focus on delivering those. I think that's where something really powerful can come, where you can have a huge impact. But it's such a macro problem that I'm excited to put this out into the world and get some good go-to-market, and a good product market fit, and then going from there. But yeah, the examples, I think the example of when you're doing interactive demos and have a customized person you're talking to, it just hits so much harder. Because it's funny, even with the recruitment company this morning, when they said, our communications across multiple platforms, and I saw they're in the Middle East recently, I talked to another companies in the Middle East and I heard WhatsApp and Telegram is all they use for communication, they don't use email. So I'm like, hey, you're probably doing work in the Middle East, and they're using WhatsApp and Telegram. They're like, yes, you get my problem. Like I didn't even say it, and it's the upside of actually doing proper market research, properly speaking to people with the problem, because in that sort of scenario, I mentioned one thing and I have so much trust in that moment.
Relatability straight away.
Yeah, because they know that I've been around long enough to understand the problem and understand why those integrations are valuable in that business market.
Yes.
So, no, it's good. And I really enjoyed it, and I think the fact is, and it's a problem I faced previously, and there's some tools that do parts of it, but I'm excited to bring
it together.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully.
And then next level is like, I want to say, hey Alexa, and then just like,
hey Magnate.
Hey Magnate. Now you want to call it different. You want to call your assistant different, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say like, hey, and then it's like, okay, start up the, like Tony Stark type situation,
Jarvis,
like Jarvis,
So like,
let's get cracking.
Because one of the big things, it's actually interesting, it was on the Y Combinator summer wish list, is AI controlled emails.
Okay.
Is one of the things they actually flagged, and that's on our roadmap. Is once we get AI integrated, AI voice actually not that crazy to jump to, but it's actually getting everything set up to get there.
To get there. You need
Um,
the information, you need the input first.
So, and that's one of the major things about like bringing all data into one place is you can do really cool. There's such amazing tools in the market that once data is in one place, you can do really amazing things. And what I'm trying to do on the back end so that I can really stand over any of the figures and saving hours and stuff is I'm actually engaged. I'm probably going to engage with them. Is University of Galway doing research studies around the difference between using something like Magnate and go jumping between platforms, and then also we're going to be looking at like gamifying messaging, looking at rewards and like reinforcing. There's lots of psychology around how humans like to work, and I'm really going deep on that because I want this to be the most rewarding platform, and that once you jump on, that you don't want to go anywhere else. Because from a actual like the platform's really good, and then also psychologically we're building the platform in a way that you love to use it. So it gives another competitive edge as well.
Absolutely. I think it's once you get it out there, that's what's like going to be the first step towards like really penetrating the market,
Yeah.
getting your closed demos, then your open demos, and then like you then just have to run and like make it happen really quickly.
Really quickly. That's why even on the recruitment side, it's funny. It was like I had gone on to them to try and eventually, once you raise, gear up towards a raise. But then it turned out that they were like, we also really need this product, you know? Because once we raise in a couple months' time, I'm going to need to sprint.
Yeah.
And then it's going to have to be a case of like off the races. Like I think I've established there's huge demand there, huge pain point. There's no product that's really hit that sweet spot, and I want to go do that. So
And do that, yeah.
So, and again, the big thing for product is, and we talked about this in the previous episode, is you can either build a mediocre product and spend the rest of your life selling or marketing it, or focus the time, build an excellent product, and it'll sell and market itself, catch fire. Like you've seen, like Lovable. The guy very casually dropped on his LinkedIn that they're going to do 50 million ARR, AI company.
Oh.
Cursor's done hundreds of millions. Fixer AI just raised 10 million, 50 million valuation. They've done £9 million in revenue in the last 8 months. They're
Oh
doing
my God.
30 million by end of it. Now the ARR, so their monthly revenue would project to that. So they'll be doing like 2.5 million a month by end of year projecting.
Oh my God.
Fixer is an email plugin. They're doing 2.5 million a month by end of the year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they're a really good reinforcement of the pain in the industry, and they're $30 and $50 a month.
$50 a month for a plugin.
Yeah, and they're getting it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
Well, I guess maybe emails are becoming too expensive to use. Maybe you're going to have to go back to the old letter and post.
yeah,
Because then at least it gets there and gets opened and just put into a brown envelope. And it'll always be opened.
But yeah, no, that's kind of where my head's at with Magnate. That's kind of
cool.
the current landscape. Yeah, so I think it's cool also being on the podcast and actually getting to actually document all this as well.
Yeah.
Of like week over week, like what does it actually look like? Because I think most people are okay to get on camera and talk about things after it's happened.
Yeah, you're talking about during it.
Yeah, I don't know. You're in the middle. You're in the middle of fighting the war. I'm about to get back into the game with this business. It's definitely,
Absolutely.
I think it's one of the upsides of this podcast of like that actually getting to see that, because I know I don't consume too much content these days, but when we were building and we were first getting into the business space, like all of it's just this like unattainable, like huge exits and like.
You can't relate to it and you can't like connect to it. You just feel so far and distant from it all, and like it's interesting to see like many different aspects. Like that's what business is about. It's all just learn and then just use your knowledge in a smarter way, because you've actually listened to other people making the mistake or going through certain things.
Yeah.
And like I think like actually I do watch the odd Stephen Bartlett interview.
Okay.
I do watch that, but like other than that, like I haven't really found any content creator that I really enjoy watching for exactly the business reasons of I want to consume business or want to hear how this person thinks or what they're kind of doing. Because most business people on YouTube are lifestyle entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And it's like that's just not something I can relate to or B want relating to. So I want to listen to people building, and I want to hear what they're going through, and I want to hear the bad.
Yeah.
I want to hear what is the tough part, because it's very easy to talk about all the great parts. Yes, of course, it's very rewarding and fulfilling and fun and all that kind of good stuff. But hey, you have to go through quite a bit of pain as well. And what is the pain? How are you thinking to get through the pain? Everyone's pain is so like different.
Yeah.
And everyone's just such a like a later stage entrepreneurs, like they're all like so like veterans, and like they don't stress about things as much anymore. They think so differently, and it's just that's the sort of learning you want to get when you're like in your early 20s like us, is to feedback from that. But I think then we echo and share that through the podcast as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's all about, really, is just to share it.
You're in your mid-20s.
I am. I am, maybe, yeah. I'm turning 25 now in August.
Oh. But yeah, no.
Midlife crisis coming.
Quarter-life crisis. But yeah, it's actually, for Alex Hormozi, it's one of the changes he's had recently is he's talking more about his current business lessons and learnings and mistakes. There was a video I sent you, I don't know if you ended up, again, we get sent lots of things, but I watched the video, it was like 8 lessons he learned in the last year.
Yes.
And I was like, such a breath of fresh air of like, instead of like just start or just win, it's like, here's actually tactically.
He has massively changed his messaging.
I love it, because it's talking more to scale up businesses rather than people going from 0 to 1, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, it's good to do all of it. I think he's covered all of the angles. Like, absolute content machine.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he has a massive team behind it. But just like everything he puts out, it is like, whatever the way he does it, I don't know what it does. It's kind of gold, and it's like you can so like, oh yes, that's good framework, that's good thinking, that's good, a comparison. Like it just feels like whenever, like now I'm probably more engaged with Hormozi than I was like last year.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much more relatable in the fact, and honest and easy to consume.
Yeah.
I find his videos and Layla's videos just like super easy to consume.
Yeah, me too. And I love the pivot from, because again, like we've been consuming business content for so many years that the startup stuff doesn't really appeal, but the scale up problems, transparency, learning, and they're so, and because they're obviously like they're an investment firm, they're seeing so many different types of businesses. The lessons he's getting are all boiled in, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like with like a startup, like I think you need to go through the apprenticeship phase. And that's like, you need to just like learn and then not earn as much.
Yeah.
And just go through with it and just get going. And then once you understand and you throw enough shit at the wall and see what sticks, then go and build, business and flesh out your product and your service and whatever you want to do. And from then on, you can either be like a continued startup, or you maybe have like such strong momentum, you need to be a scale up, and you need more money, you need more expertise, you need more people. It's like both growth, like, is that 2 different journeys, but like, it's not about like, a lot of people spin it into like ego of like, I want to be a scale up. I'm like, okay, you want to be a scale up, great. You want to run at the pace of a scale up? Can you? Will you? Have you? It's like, it all seems very fun, and like, it's a lot of people talk about it in like a egotistical way of like, oh yeah, I'm running a scale up and we're doing 100 million MRR and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, great, mate. How did you get there?
Yeah.
How are you getting there? How much have you borrowed to get there?
Yeah.
How much have you got invested? Okay, who's investing? How did you get investment? Well, how did you convince people to do? That's the sort of stuff I want to learn. I don't care that you're doing that much money on the monthly basis. I want to learn, how did you build this business?
It's just all problem solving.
It's you have to solve problems like nobody else, and you have to have such thick skin.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you have to have the thickest skin in town to play this game and really be a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I think, I was talking to James on this yesterday, that I think over time, you start to know that who can be and who will be successful. And the can be part is like, it's said in like a sad tone of, they have all the right characteristics, but maybe they don't have the hunger.
Yeah.
And that could be due to upbringing. Maybe that could be their insecurities are not, strong enough for them to go make it. Whatever
it is,
pushes you, right? That's like, unfortunately, like, okay, if you're talented and you have it and you're smart and, you're resilient and all that, that's great. But like, can you actually go and do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the doing part people fail at.
Totally. And it's also, but over time, doing and staying stagnant is not. It becomes more comfortable. It's doing and continuing to want to keep pushing for bigger and bigger. I think is actually because like we said, new levels, new devils, and obviously you're in scale up with the two companies at the moment, and they're both moving extremely quickly, and you're facing problems like no tomorrow. And then obviously with Magnate, it's like getting off the ground. And now I'm even feeling the momentum the last month. Things are moving faster. There's more things at play, and I'm even having to relook at my days and going, okay, how do I ensure and stay on top of everything?
Yes.
Because with the two scale ups, it's
Yes.
like, things can run away from you, things go wrong, and
Every day.
the oopsies become bigger and bigger, the money
Every
becomes
day.
bigger and bigger. So
Every day. I think like one of the biggest things you will see is people get stagnant, as you said, and they cannot get out of the stagnation part. And a lot of the times it's fear. It's fear of them losing money or fear of them losing that status because they feel that's the comfort point. And if I'm reflecting on this, it's like when we've gone from like 40,000 a month up until past 200,000 a month. It was just I had to spend way more money, and be way more. How should I say it? I had to really put the throttle down, and I had to be way more risky in the sense of, okay, I'm going to bet on this. I'm going to execute on this. I don't care if I fail here. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to hire 3 people here. And then all of a sudden, blink, and there's your business.
Yeah.
Now your business is literally, like 4x'd really quickly. And it's just spend the money in the bank.
Yeah.
That's what the simple formula is. Don't be trying to look at the bottom line every day. If you're in scale-up mode, you will be losing money.
Yeah.
The whole idea is you're investing for now, right? For you to keep going and to get to a certain stage faster, but then you over time make back your money.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the businesses that are doing extremely high revenue numbers, they're reinvesting a lot of that back in.
So much, yeah.
And that's again with the whole burn thing. It's like, okay, you're making X, but how much are you actually burning to make X?
Yeah.
And obviously the whole concept of it is that at one point you start to lean out in a way and maybe become a bit more automated and a bit more mature of a business. But that's like a next step.
Yeah.
So I'm like, because I'm 24, I want all the businesses to be like saunas. Like when you walk in, it's hot.
Yeah.
And you're going in there, it's sweating, and it's you're having limited resource, but you are absolutely going after the mission and the vision you've set out.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you actually make a really successful business.
Totally.
Is by taking that risk.
Yeah.
It is risky. I get it. I can lean back and be extremely comfortable, but it's not what I want. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if anybody wants to build a big business, and anybody that's currently like listening to this and they're doing like relatively really well, they have 1 or 2 people working for them, and they're taking a really solid wage, and they have the ambition to go bigger, but they're all trying to have fear motivate their decision of, oh well, what if quality slips? What if I don't make my wages next month? Well, what if, because you never tried?
Yeah.
And like, why are you not believing in yourself? Why did you believe from like 0 to 10 and not 10 to 20?
Yeah.
Or 20 to 100? Why are you not? Where is it? What's changed?
Yeah.
Have you gotten a bit more dependent on it?
Yeah.
Why is it because of other people's opinions or judgments? Just get into the mindset of building and like stop caring about the money part. Care about the money part in the sense of it's your job to make it work. If your quality slips, it's your fault that your quality has slipped.
Go fix it.
Go fix it.
Yeah.
There's no room for excuses. Oh, I'm really busy now. Sorry, I didn't get back to you. If someone says that to you now know the back end of it is they're extremely unorganized, right? Or they're not hiring. They're not investing in infrastructure and team. And that is, I think, the core of any business is your team, your infrastructure, your people, and that's what money's for.
Yeah.
That's what buys you time. That's what will accelerate you. So I'd urge anybody that really can take that risk, if we're calling it risk, and actually try to build a big business. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You have to start again.
Yeah, or you scale back a bit. And
you scale back a bit and you come back and you try to go to 60K, but you had to, like it just didn't work out. You didn't do it right. Go back down to 40K. Start again until it works. If you've reached that far, trust me, I think you can reach further.
Yeah, it was a clip you sent me last year. It was Ryan Serhan said, "Scared money don't make money."
Scared money don't make money. It is 100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Shout out to Ryan Serrant. He's a G.
Yeah. He's killing it. He's
Yeah.
absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably around 45 minutes.
Okay. We didn't actually get to cover some of the topics we wanted to cover.
I think this was insightful, though. I think this is a good chat.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Like, I want to share, like, transparently, like, the bad sides of entrepreneurship as well. And, like, I think just everything around transparency there, because I just feel the space at the moment is so dominated by the lifestyle entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't do justice for this beautiful job.
Yeah, no, and I think that we've definitely done it the hard route. And I think that we have...
I just don't want to go grey. That's my only thing.
Man, grey's so much better than bald.
I won't have that problem, buddy.
No, I won't either.
You actually have all right head of hair.
Yeah. No,
Poor old Kevin now. He's going backwards there, isn't he?
Okay.
No comment.
Kevin will not be very happy with that one. But yeah, that's
episode 23 wrapped up. If you guys made it this far, really appreciate it. Please like, follow, and subscribe. We're on every channel and we're posting weekly, and we'll see you next week.